Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular monthly meeting of the Pflugerville Community Development Corporation. I call the meeting to order at 2 minutes after the hour, that is 6:02 Central Standard Time. In the PM, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. One state, one nation.
We'll now go to item 3, items of community interest. Do we have any items for community interest? None? Okay, seeing that, we'll close item 3. We'll go to item 4. Oh, I'm so sorry. The pedestal is right in the way there. Yeah. So you have public comment?
We do have some items. We wanted to emphasize the holiday drop-in lunch on December 11th to make sure that that's on everyone's calendar for this event. We have invited that we're going to invite the city, our partners like the chamber, and it is an invitation only event. We're going to be holding that Wednesday, December 11th, at the PCDC offices.
Wonderful. And Crystal, I'm so sorry. I can't see you at all because of the podium right here and the lectern reader. Okay, yes, thank you very much. And do we have any other public comment? Okay, seeing that, we will close public comment. We will now go to item 4. In accordance with the Texas Attorney General's opinion, any public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published final agenda will only be heard by the PCDC board. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made by the PCDC board, and each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to make any public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment, seeing as there are no speakers. We'll move now to item 5. This is our regular meeting agenda. First up is 5A, 2024-0992, discuss and consider action to approve the September 25th, 2024 work session meeting minutes and the September 25th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a move and a second by Mr. Mitchell. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We approve the minutes unanimously. We'll move to item 5B. This is 2024-0994, a presentation on Pflugerville's Venture Week held October 1st through 4th, 2024. And as just a precursor, I did manage to attend some of the events, and I'm very pleased with the outcomes, but I'll let you give the summary. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brian Marshall with BCL of Texas, and we're at PCDC Venture Week. Pflugerville Venture Week is important to BCL because it's about supporting small businesses, helping those businesses grow. As the businesses grow, so does the community.
My name is Jasmine Brand. I'm the founder and CEO of Her Texas. We found a woman-owned coffee shop, West Pecan, I believe it was called. I'm obsessed with this vanilla pumpkin latte. And so we came together as men and women that kind of came there. It was both founders, professionals, and everything in between. It was just an opportunity to kind of pause, connect, and make some new connections. But I think it was like a perfect start to this luncheon because I met so many amazing people yesterday that I now have connections now.
I'm Joseph Liu. I'm an angel investor. I'm a member of Central Texas Angel Network. I believe there are 3 pillars in a healthy ecosystem. One is investor, one is entrepreneur, third is a local support. So I'm happy to see Pflugerville support and get everybody together.
You know, it's a crucial element for entrepreneurs to have a community. Entrepreneurship is very lonely. It can be really hard. And so if you don't have a community is everything. And so the type of community that you build for yourself is the type of success you have. Events like this build and foster community and let entrepreneurs know that you're not alone.
It's essential for a startup business in Pflugerville today is to continue to think big. Think of your big ideas. Start small and move fast on those key opportunities that are directly in front of you.
Crystal Conley, Business Retention, Workforce Development, and I'll say our first inaugural Venture Week was quite the success. It was very exciting to see lots of entrepreneurs in our community. And just to give you a real brief recap here before I turn it over to Veronica, who really did all the real work here. We had over 100 participants across all 4 events. We have an entrepreneur list of about 40 to 50 individuals in our community who are specifically getting entrepreneur-related newsletters and emails from us now as a result of these events. And we've received a lot of feedback afterwards as well. We had people coming from Round Rock and Austin to attend our events. And so they were really excited to come do that with us. So we were excited to host this. I do want to turn it over to Veronica to share some of the marketing highlights with you.
All right, thank you. Veronica Ramirez, Marketing Communications. So I'm going to just cover some of the social media that we did for this event. I'm going to start with how many posts we did. And this is during the week of Venture Week. So it's not even the promotions that we did before. So this is, actually it is, I'm sorry. It is the promotions that we did before. So in all together, we did 160 social media posts. That includes Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and Instagram. With that, we had 67 shares. 711 interactions, which means people shared it, liked it, commented, and also we reached 13,866 people. So that's how many times people saw our post come up on their screen, whether it's mobile, desktop. So that's a pretty good reach for just our organic post that we did. Our top post was actually the launch video that we did, and it actually was Crystal's video that she did, kind of welcoming everybody to the Venture Week and launching it. So that reached about 855 people, had almost 1,300 plays, and reached about 918 people through just how many times they saw it on the screen. Also, I want to mention too, we had a 43% increase of website traffic. So that's, I compared that to the previous week just because we haven't done this event before. So our normal website traffic, I compared it with during Venture Week. And so again, we had 43% increase. So that's pretty good. And it's all Venture Week, Venture Week, Venture Week. So really proud about that. The next one, we did a lot of advertising. We did print, which was in the community impact for September. So, and then these were the 2 ads that we had that we pushed out on LinkedIn and Facebook. So with both of those combined on LinkedIn, we reached 35,000 people, which is really, really great. And engagement, again, 193. And that's, again, how many people liked, commented, shared the post. And on Facebook, we reached 27,000 people with an engagement of 79,000. So we had a lot more engagement on Facebook, but we reached a lot more people on LinkedIn, which, again, LinkedIn is probably our most interactive social media platform with economic development. And lastly, just want to talk about the videos. Recap videos you just saw is one of them, but we did do 5 entrepreneur videos, which included Oscar. So thank you again. And this is just a recap of how many times people watch the videos. So 482 on Facebook, 323 on LinkedIn, 317 on Instagram, 330 on X, and YouTube. YouTube is kind of a newer platform for us. We don't have a lot of our videos, so it's a little bit lower, but that's, again, because we just kind of started putting out a lot of videos on there. We had 211 watches on YouTube. So I'm happy to take any questions or comments on Venture Week.
Which platform would you say best encompasses our target audience?
For sure.
Yeah, that's intuitively, that's what I was thinking, but I just wanted to get your feedback.
LinkedIn, and yeah, we got
who's second to LinkedIn? Anybody?
Facebook.
Facebook seems to have that older crowd on it. So yeah.
And just to wrap it up, I'll say that our next steps will be to continue to research some entrepreneur platforms. I've already demoed 2 of them. I have 2 more to go here in the next few weeks, and hopefully make that as an offering to our local entrepreneurs to be able to handhold them through the process on a day in and day out basis, where I may not always be available, of course, but this platform would be available to them. And then also to do some quarterly events with some of our partners, always continually really using our partners to sort of push forward the idea of entrepreneurship, which, as you guys know, drives innovation, drives new products, drives new technology, which then increases wealth in the community. So
The video, how long does that run?
the which one?
The one that you showed us just a moment ago.
Oh,
How long the video is?
Yeah, it's run duration.
It's a little bit less than 2 minutes.
Okay. It's probably something you could edit down to about 60 seconds, right?
So when I put them on Facebook, I only did, and social media, I kind of did clips. This one I did a little bit longer, but usually I'll put the clips on only.
I'd like y'all to take a look into what it would take, or just give me a ballpark for what it would take to get that on local news and local TV if we bought some airtime. So just take a look at that. Let's see, and you can bring it before the board and we can just get an idea for what it takes. It's fantastic, and we need to get more people involved, and we need to share this with as many media streams and platforms as we can. And it's a bit more older school, but you can't deny that there's a large market out there. So maybe just take a look into it.
for sure. And we're planning to do next year's Venture Week. They've already sent the date out, so we'll start planning that. Yeah.
So, and again, I saw each of the videos. They were incredible. And I apologize for not being able to be there, but I was not allowed out of the house. That's a good thing, but when I went to the links that you guys provided, which platform did that go to?
So all of the videos, they went to our YouTube page.
Okay. So I was several of those.
But we do also have them in full on our website.
Yeah, and I went there also. But again, to your point, the quality of the videos is exceptional. So I think at whatever medium we can get it presented, it's going to represent not only the individuals in the videos well, but I think our organization very well.
And I'll say that Veronica also just updated our webpage. So if you go to the Business First webpage, she has created a whole section for entrepreneurs that gives them angel investor contact information, venture contact information, BCL information. So I think that's why some of the traffic on the webpage picked up, because we marketed it and it's now full with lots of information for entrepreneurs. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent, well done. We'll now move on to item 5C. This is 2024-0925. Discuss and consider action to approve the Pflugerville Work Study and Strategic Action Plan.
Good evening. Just a little background on what brought us here today. Tom Stellman and Alexis will be presenting through our Zoom platform. So you guys can go ahead and join us and turn on your videos and turn on your there you go. Just to recap for you, they have met with either the board or the council several times now to get some feedback, and then to take it back and incorporate some of the things you asked them to last time. So today you will receive the final product which is the report, along with the strategic action plan that you all will consider tonight. And then next week, it will be presented at council just as a presentation in the work session. So I turn it over to Tom and Alexis.
Good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the fact that Venture Week was presented before us, because one of our top recommendations is to sort of also use your entrepreneurship strategy as a talent development and sort of talent recruitment strategy. So this was a perfect segue for us. But once again, it's great to be back in front of you guys. And Alexis and I are going to tag team here today. And if you want, Alexis, so I think it's important just to remind ourselves, there's a couple of words in the project goal that we've been working on, and the focus is on higher wage jobs in Pflugerville, but also creating opportunities for residents of Pflugerville to also kind of be upskilled and look for better jobs within the community. And so just a reminder there. And also, Crystal mentioned that, we've been at this for several months, and we have received a lot of input from the council in the beginning and from you guys with PCDC in order to refine the scope and expand the scope from what we had originally proposed, and we appreciate that feedback. And our recommendations are based on that, but also on several meetings that we've had during the process. We have met with the PCDC a couple of times. And I think we did a lunch and learn kind of a workshop that also included the council. And then we've done a number of interviews and employer roundtables. And we've also run a lot of data, and we're going to provide some of that data today in a tool that we'll share. It's an interactive tool, and we'll share that live with you here in a moment. And then also, we rely pretty heavily on our experience working on workforce and talent related projects, not just in Central Texas, but across the country. So just a reminder of the work that's gone into this. On the interviews, we did meet with the city. We did meet with retailers. We met with some of your manufacturers and higher tech. We also met with the regional players, Opportunity Austin and Workforce Solutions Capital Area that serves this. And, very important, we met with Pflugerville ISD and the CTE programs, because that's a huge investment you guys have in front of you. Go ahead, Alexis. I do want to remind you, I'm gonna talk about some of the data here in a moment. But just a reminder that in your economic development strategic plan, there were 4 different strategic opportunity areas that were identified: retail, life sciences, advanced technology and innovation, and information technology. And you guys asked us early on if we could add skilled trades to that, because there are so many opportunities within skilled trades with all the construction and everything else that's going on in the region. So we added that to our list. And a lot of our data is organized around these different opportunity areas. So you guys probably can't read that since I don't see your screen, but we did send out a link in advance, and I'm not sure if any of the board members had a chance to check it out. But I wanted you guys to know that we've organized our data in 4 different buckets. The first one is just around understanding kind of worker and resident dynamics. Big focus on commuting trends, who's commuting in and who's commuting out. And then the occupational structure, just kind of what is the employment? What are the industries that are prevalent in Pflugerville and in the region? And some of this was a repeat of some of the things that you probably heard in the economic development component. But the next 2 buckets, the strategic opportunity alignment and education and training assets, were new to this work. And so that's what Alexis and I are going to focus on today. But the strategic opportunity area is based on job postings. So, one of the challenges that you face with occupational data is there's a lag time. But in order to get something close to, what's happening right now, we use job postings over the last 2 years and slice and dice that a lot of different ways. And we could present for 5 hours on data, but I promised Crystal we would only spend 5 to 10 minutes on that today. So that's what we're going to do. But just know that this deliverable to the staff is something that they will be able to use this tool and do analysis on their own without going back to us to kind of run data, and will be available to them if they've got any questions about how to gather it and operate the tool and everything that we're providing. So with that, we're going to take a risk with you guys and actually pull up the tool live with you. And so this tool is based on a visualization tool. Those of you kind of that are on the software side might recognize Tableau as the tool that allows us to visualize and manipulate data interactively. And I think I kind of explained this when we had it up on the slide. But if you don't mind, Alexis, we're going to click on a couple of things here and move around. But what we're doing right now with the link, you can actually do it on your own, and you don't need to download the software. You can do this through your browser because it's on a browser that allows you to actually look at the data yourself. But the first one,
Tom, I'm so sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt. If I could just let the board know, it's actually live on our website. So
Okay.
you can check it out tonight if you go to pfdevelopment.com to site selectors and then labor force data, and you can play with the tool too.
Perfect. So thank you, Crystal. And are you guys still okay hearing me and seeing everything? Since I'm on a small screen, I just want to make
Oh,
sure.
yeah, we're good.
Okay. But to the I guess the far right bar, the latest data on commuting patterns, which is a little bit old but still reflective. You guys know that you have quite a few folks who commute out. That's the orange. The teal color that's up top is the number of commuters that are coming from outside of the community to work in Pflugerville, and then you've got about 2,500 that 2,493 that actually live and work in the community. So I think that's an opportunity for you guys, and I think that's mentioned in several meetings in the past, is that you've got quite a few folks that leave the community that are in industries that are professional and scientific and healthcare and others that would be great to be able to offer up jobs so that they could stay in the community. Represents a big opportunity there for you. So that's kind of one of the things that you already know well. We looked at the commuting patterns based on industry sectors. So within this, we can click on industry sectors or socioeconomic factors. But you can see that, you have a net sort of input or influx of commuters on education and construction, but most other sectors, you have folks that are leaving, and you can see the biggest part of those that are leaving the community are actually in pretty high-paying jobs. It's in the professional, technical, and healthcare areas. So this really is an affirmation of things that we had talked about in the beginning, but now we have the data to support that. So the next component that I'd like to cover is in the area that's based on the job postings data. And I think this might be the one that if you're going to go home tonight and play with something, this might be an area that you'd want to look at because it represents closer to real-time data around where the job demand is based on job postings. And so the way that it's set up is in the upper right-hand corner, you can see select SOA. That's the strategic opportunity area. So you can actually select on any of the sectors that we're focused on. And then in the box below it, you can look at that data in a number of different ways. And the first cut we have is by cities. And so you can see the big green circle in the middle is the city of Austin. So job postings that list the employment opportunity as Austin. 48, I'm sorry, 40, is that 48 that's on there? I'm sorry, yeah. So it's essentially 40,000 of the 48,000 in the Austin region are posted for Austin. And if you scroll over Pflugerville, you can see that there's 486 job postings over that time for jobs in Pflugerville out of the number for the region. And you can actually select, each of those different industries to see, what kinds of postings you're getting within Pflugerville versus some of the other communities that you might compete with. And so the next data set there in that second box is based on industry. So we're still in that advanced tech area. So you can see semiconductor, you can see electronic computer, you can see engineering services. You can, up there at the top, you see automobile and light duty job postings there. We know that a lot of that is driven by Tesla. And then the other things that you can select on here are the actual employers within those industries. So if we click on that, we end up getting the actual names of where those job postings came from over that period of time. And so, and then from there, you can go down and select on the actual occupations that are being posted within that. So you can see within the advanced tech, software, industrial engineer, computer, data science, and actually electrical, engineers. And so you can see the top job postings within that. And then if you guys are okay, I'm going to click on skill trades and then I'll move on. But I wanted to give you enough flavor of some of the analysis that we've been able to do that's informed the recommendations. But just know that this is available to you, but just as important, it's available to the staff as they are working with companies to be able to present some of the data on not just Pflugerville, but on the greater Austin region and what's going on. So as I mentioned, in the upper right-hand corner, you can select on the different industries, skilled trades. You can look at that by city. You can also look at that by industry, and you can look at it by employer, and you can look at it by the job titles. And so I'm going to keep moving here unless you guys have a question at this point, but I do have a couple of other data components that I wanted to share so that you know that it's in this tool.
Real quick, Tom, I did have a
Yes.
question I wanted to ask. So you're citing a 2-year period of collection.
Yes.
Do you know what that time period actually is?
And so when you say it's May of 2022 through April of this year.
And thank you. Yeah, I just couldn't read the small print.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
sorry about that. Sorry about that. And that's when we ran all of the data earlier this year. So there's we do have like a 3 or 4 month lag time here. But I think most of these trends are holding. I know that there have been within the semiconductor, there's been a pause on some of that hiring, but we do anticipate that ramping back up. And
do you have any insight into how industrial engineers placed so high? I mean, I have some indirect familiarity with that role, and they've had operations research and such for decades, but I can't say that I've seen that kind of demand. Who's driving that demand?
If we click on was it within advanced tech? And then industrial engineers. And then if we, and once again, remember, this is like unique postings during that period of time. So I'm guessing there may be some that are categorized within Samsung and with Tesla and others that are being captured within the classification for that job posting as an industrial engineer. And so you may know better than I do, what, based on your experience would fit within industrial engineer. But I'm also happy to see if we can find out, who the specific employers are within.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't let me just derail you.
Okay.
So,
Nope.
yeah, go ahead and please continue.
Okay. And I think we were going to move to the career and technical, so we looked at, the demand, and then we also wanted to look at, what types of positions are being trained for within the region, specifically to support some of the programming for the Pflugerville ISD's CTE, but also just to understand where that is. And so the way this is set up is we can actually select on different school districts. We can select on the programs that are being offered by the districts. And remind me, Alexis, is there one that lets you like compare? You can pick a program.
Yes.
For example, like if we pick electrical, which isn't offered by that many different districts, but you can see, who does offer it, and you can offer, you see how many were enrolled, which is the learners category, and then you can look at how many completers. And this data set is a great place to start but it's based on, what is reported through the Texas Education Agency, TEA, and it doesn't capture everything. And so, we would recommend that, the ISD make sure that we validate data, and I know that they're doing that. But I think it's a great place to start because it allows you to see kind of across all of the districts at the same time. It does not break it out by school. It is by district. We're doing a project right now for the larger region to look at it, manufacturing and other industries. And we're in a meeting earlier this week, and welding sort of came up, and they were wanting to know specifically which high schools were offering welding, and we have it by district. So we have some additional research to share. And once we get that, we'll also share that with the ISD.
This
Yes.
is Darrell. And I'm glad you have that up there. 'Cause in the report that was in our packet on page 5, it has the information that you have up in that upper right-hand corner. But what what I'm seeing is what I thought it might be. But on page 5 in your report, down at the bottom, it says for Austin ISD, there were 300 learners. And obviously from your automated report up there, it's actually supposed to be 30. So you might want to make the correction on page 5 before it goes to city council.
Thank you for catching that, because the completion rate doesn't match in the chart that we gave you. So thanks for catching that.
That is correct. And actually, why it caught my attention is at first when I read it, I thought Austin ISD was doing something really fantastic, and I wanted to find out from you what that was. So obviously, it's not what I thought it was. Thank you.
No, that's great. As a matter of fact, you would also question if you had that many people enrolling and only 12 completers, what was going on there?
Well, yeah, and that's why that 40%.
Yeah.
Again, what you show on the screen above is
Okay.
correct, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
That 30 people and 12 finished, and that's 40%. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And I know that this data is valuable at, a level of basically leading you to what questions you need to be asking. And we highly recommend that, the ISD and others, use this as a starting point to understand who's offering what, and then basically, make the calls to validate. So I think we have 1 or 2 additional data slides, and then we're going to go to the recommendations. And I want to make sure that the pace that we're on is okay for you guys. Still on track.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so you can see across the bottom here, the bar charts that this is also based on job postings data. We looked at the qualifications at a high level, just based on, do they require high school? The majority of the top jobs for these different areas, are they requiring high school degree or associate's degree or bachelor's degree or graduate degree? And you can see that, on it, obviously you would expect it on the advanced tech and software and life sciences, you have a much higher prevalence on the higher education side. The next slide, I think we wanted to look at, did we also want to click on experience required, or was that? No, I think we're okay with this. So the skills, have become almost as important or more important than some of the degrees right now. There's a big movement within the corporate world and the training world to recognize that the skills are as important as some of the certifications. Not to take anything away from, the engineering degrees that are needed and things like that, but I know that with the demand outstripping the supply in many of these areas, that there's been a real movement toward looking at skills. And so what we did, which is somewhat unique, is we parsed the job postings data, looking at the skills that are being asked for within them. And this particular slide shows that we've selected advanced tech And we've done a word cloud with the skills that are mentioned the most in those job postings. And so you can see things like communication and project management and problem solving and leadership. It's this mix of skills that are sort of common skills or soft skills and technical skills and kind of specialized skills. But within this, you can actually select on whether you're looking for just the common soft skills or you're looking for specialized skills. It's one of the things you can select on. But I don't know that I need to go in for each one, but up at the top, you can look at it in a word cloud, but you can also just look at it in lists. And sometimes that's easier. That's easier for me sometimes. And so this one actually takes those same words and you can see it across all of the different sectors that we're looking at. And you can see, communication kind of comes to the top, customer service, management, sales, leadership, those are very common skills that cut across a lot of the different industries. But the way this is set up, you can look at each one and you can go down, you can actually scroll down because there are many skills that are actually specialized skills or, qualification type skills. And when you get in the advanced tech and software, you can see, you're looking for folks who have agile technology or they've got specific certifications within that. And so we feel like this is going to be very helpful, especially for the ISD as they are looking at, different programs and influencing the type of training that's going to go on within the programs. And by the way, this is relatively new kind of sources and ways of cutting this. So I feel like Pflugerville is going to be in a position to kind of lead in some of these areas. Well, Alexis, was there anything else that we needed to cover?
That is it from the data side of things. I'm going to reshare the slide deck. If there's any questions about the data before we move on.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to Crystal, we're happy to be available if somebody goes through this and has a question about something or catches something that we didn't catch, because it's a very robust data set and feel like it's a tool that the staff and others will be able to use as they think through what does it mean to promote talent development in Pflugerville. So
Thanks, Tom. Well, I'm going to take us through the strategic recommendations now. This will look pretty familiar to you all. We came to you back in August and went over these 10 core recommendations, but we've reframed it a bit based on the feedback we got from you all. So back in August, we went over these 10 high-level recommendations and drilled down on the top 3. Today, we're going to drill down on recommendation 1, 6, and 7, because those are what we've identified as the 3 key priorities for the short, medium, and long term that will have the highest impact and really jumpstart some transformative workforce-related impacts in Pflugerville. So that was something that you all mentioned back in the board meeting in August, wanting to know kind of where those highest ROIs would be over the short, medium, and long term. So before I get into those 3 specifically, just a quick review of the 10. A reminder, those first 3 recommendations are really centered around increasing training offerings. So the first there is, of course, focusing on your K through 12 with your CTE programming at the school district. The second is around adult training programs. And then the third is around attracting a higher education program. The 4th and 5th recommendations there are really about leveraging partnerships. So partnerships like with industry associations or with funding partners like public, private, or philanthropic funders. Recommendation 6, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail here in a moment, is about improving quality of place and ultimately leading to more talent attraction and retention. And then recommendations 7 and 8 are really focus in on supporting your entrepreneurs and small businesses. And then 9 and 10 are a little bit broader as it relates to workforce supports. So 9 is all about building those soft and employability skills, and 10 is about making sure that there are wraparound supports such as affordable housing, transportation, childcare. So with that, I'm gonna just hone in on.
Could we
Oh,
go back?
yeah.
Go back, yep.
Yeah.
So the first three recommendations that you're making, and those are very viable recommendations. And this, you may be wrapping back around to this later in your slide presentation, but the thing that sparks my interest in those first three recommendations is how that unfolds for those individuals, whether they be students in high school that are going through CTE or adult workers and so forth, how that unfolds in terms of those higher paying jobs and what you've forecasted for those first three recommendations.
So how those training programs then link up to those higher paying occupations that are, yeah, absolutely. So I'm not gonna go into detail on recommendation 2 and 3, but it is similar. The recommendation 1, and I'll talk about it here in a moment, but it's really about centering the programming around those 5 strategic opportunity areas that we identified that align with some higher wage opportunities.
Yeah, and within the data set, we kind of list the occupations that are in demand and the wages for them, and kind of look at, what might be the pathways for that. And so that information would be part of what is prioritized within those three. And so, I mean, everything that we're doing is geared toward the higher paying jobs. And there will be data to support that.
Have you, sorry, have you already made selections in terms of, or ranked those? I mean, do you have a list already? Is there a top 3 that you can give us that are in demand, high quality jobs for Pflugerville?
Without pulling up the data, we didn't list out, these are the top jobs for Pflugerville to upskill to, but the data is in there. We'd be happy to go back and take a look at that.
Yeah, and to that point, the plan itself does list the key occupations that fall under each of those 5 strategic opportunity areas. And then when you reference back to the data that Tom was just taking us through, you can actually look at the earning potential for each of those occupations. So you can know where it falls in terms of the living wage for Pflugerville, or rather for the MSA.
All right, so if maybe I misunderstood, and if I did, I apologize. Again, the point being that we've identified this recommendation 1, aligned careers, so forth, in demand, high quality jobs in Pflugerville. What we will do, so that'll be the recommendation. So then what we will do as PCDC or the school district, however we're going to be utilizing this information, we will go through that data, and then we will identify those particular positions. And then that's where we'll step forward. Or is that something that you will be guiding us on and identifying what those positions are?
Is that true? I mean, I like your answer.
Yeah, I mean, the occupations will be able to help identify the top, 5 or 10 with each one, and the associated, but you guys will ultimately determine which within that, if you're picking 1, 2, or 3, within that list that we share.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, then, and again, this, what I'm describing is great with me. This document is basically establishing a direction, and then as a part of that resource, we have the granular data that we use then to pinpoint, basically aim at those jobs that we think have the greatest return for the potential employees that come into the community, as well as what the community can help support and how we go about aligning those career and education items. Basically, from our standpoint, supporting it in some financial way or resources to the school district or other, maybe it's a different private educational organization.
Well,
Are there any other questions about that? I hope we've answered that.
Well, I tell you what, I think we're at a point we can go ahead and move on, and then if we've got to revisit it, we can.
Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that recommendation one here in a moment too, so that might give some more insight. So again, we've framed this based on short, medium, and long-term impact over time. So the recommendations here are not in numerical order since we're identifying them based on the time frame here. So the short term is all around supports for entrepreneurs. The medium term is CTE programming and aligning that with the strategic opportunity areas. And then the long term is all about building up the quality of place and driving talent attraction through that. So
yeah,
I'm
I was gonna clarify, Alexis, because really this was our response, because you asked us which ones do you believe, based on early short-term success, because we had listed our original priorities and what we thought was kind of a priority overall. But you asked us to go back and say, hey, based on the EDC and the kinds of things that we do and we can influence, we listed kind of a short, medium, and long-term strategies that we thought should come to the top. It doesn't mean that you're not going to do any of the others. You were asking for sort of our opinion of what we thought that should be. So that's the way that.
One thing, we've been throwing around the term short, medium, and long within this report. It shows up everywhere. I would like you to be prepared that when you're presenting to council, and I think I'd kind of like the answer for us too, let's bound short, medium, and long in terms of like months so that people have an idea of how much overlap is there between them and what are we really looking at? Because someone might think 0 to 3 months is appropriate for short, or someone might think 0 to 12.
For us, we were looking at 1 to 2 years for the short term and sort of 3 to 5 years, because the CTE programs, we have that as the 3 to 5 based on the construction time and sort of timeline for seeing.
Perfect. So I think if you just outline that expressly on the documentation, that'll help everybody be centered, and then the conversation can be more productive.
Yeah, and the one that is, I guess, the longer term had to do with the quality of place and the investments that are made over time to kind of create that, Pflugerville as a destination for talent. And I think that, that's requires, that's, downtown district, that's a number of sort of improvements that will happen over time. So that was that was in the long term, kind of 5 years and beyond. Doesn't mean there can't be things done in the short term within these, but that was our best cut at
Roger,
responsive to the way you were thinking about it.
Yeah, so moving through this short-term impact recommendation 7 is all centered all around entrepreneurship. So it's great to give this presentation on the heels of Veronica and Crystal's presentation about Venture Week, which is the first action item here. So we see this as a short-term impact because in a way it's low-hanging fruit, right? PCDC is doing this work in a lot of ways already. It's a matter of expanding those efforts. It's something we heard about in our input from stakeholders, the roundtables, employers, small businesses in particular, retailers have been working closely with PCDC. And so it's really about making sure that those entrepreneurship support systems are across the board for the strategic opportunity areas that we've identified. So this is, of course, really about preparing and enabling the future business owners of Pflugerville. So the first 2 recommendations here, or rather actions, are specific around providing networking opportunities and resources through offerings that PCDC is already doing, right? With Venture Week and with the Entrepreneurship Exchange Network. The third action item is really about attracting talent back to Pflugerville. So through our Hometown Hero program, ultimately offering former Pflugerville residents an opportunity to return and launch their businesses in Pflugerville. Then the fourth bullet there is about creating an actual physical space for entrepreneurs. And then the final two bullets center around youth programming. And so that's something that really stemmed out of our last presentation to you all. That last bullet around encouraging existing CTE training to include curriculum around entrepreneurship skills. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the CTE recommendations specifically. So again, the medium term here is the CTE programming, and as Tom already implied, we're thinking of this as medium term because it's directly linked to the work the school district's doing in building out the CTE center. So that, of course, will take more designing, refining, fostering relationships with employers and partners as they get that launched. So we're thinking about this as a medium-term impact, rather. Although as Tom was saying, the work here is happening now. So again, here we're honing in on each of those 5 strategic opportunity areas and specifying programs that would align with high demand employment opportunities. So the example on the right-hand side there, and Tom started to allude to this when he shared the data, electricians are in high demand in the Austin MSA. Pflugerville is one of the school districts that doesn't offer a CTE program there. Austin ISD, as we know, is 30 learners, not 300, and that will be corrected. But this is an opportunity for Pflugerville ISD to branch into an electrical CTE program that connects students to high demand middle skill occupations that offer a living wage. The second action item there is linked to the IT strategic opportunity area. So that's really about supporting the existing program that exists at Connolly High School. The third action item is scaling up the CTE programs that already exist for culinary arts, which aligns with the retail strategic opportunity area, and then the healthcare program that aligns with life sciences. And then, and this, we go into more detail on the fourth bullet here in recommendation 4, which speaks all about advanced manufacturing, or rather advanced technology. But here we're recommending developing advanced manufacturing and machinery mechanics and welding programs specifically. Again, those are high demand areas that make living wages.
Well, let me ask a question here as I'm listening, and all this sounds great, okay? And I think we've done, Crystal, you can chime in on this, is don't we already have employers that are creating internships or on-the-job training, for example, advanced manufacturing, and there could be employers that could do the same thing with welding and things of that nature. So that would, in terms of medium term, I would think that would be more of a short-term strategy, because I think you have employers out there. Now, I don't know about the electrician piece, that might be a little iffy there, but certainly some of the more hands-on trades, whether they're mechanical, the welding especially, and then the advanced manufacturing and the processes that are involved there, that some of our local employers can pick that ball up and run with it now versus waiting for the school district to come up with a program.
Well, I'm just going to chime in and I'll say, Mayor, you stole my thunder, because yes, the answer is yes. So Mobotrex has developed with the school district. We met a few months ago and they have 6 welding bays. And as you know, welders are in high demand and they make a great wage, more than a living wage. They make a great wage. And because of that, even though there's still more work to be done for the pathway at the school district, they've already begun the internship process, right? And then the school district, we provide the equipment for the school district to use to be able to train them in class before they head over to that internship working under somebody. And I will say, just this year, the school district, because I kind of had this data over the last couple months, and they've begun an electrician program. And so thanks to this data, it helped kind of show them maybe what we're missing that others are starting to do. So they've got this entry-level electrician program, which we as a board hopefully will be able to support with equipment down the
They were
road.
already integrating, collaborating, connecting.
Yes, sir.
However you want to call it, with the school district in their, I'm assuming that's part of their CTE curriculum to partner with these businesses to get that off the ground a lot quicker than waiting for the school to have a welding program per se in their facility, which maybe a little.
And we talked years ago, we seemed like 3 years ago, we had a program, and I'm sure it's continuing, the pre-apprentice program for the trades, right? Where we go through and we train candidates for the plumbing trade, the electrical trade, the HVAC trade, so that they already understand all the terms and they're ready to hit the ground running. Is that program still ongoing? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm sure that's where all this is going, but I'm thinking we're already there. I'm done.
The last thing I want to emphasize with this recommendation is that last action item, which really stemmed out of our last conversation with you all. So we're recommending now that concurrently to any CTE programming that's aligned with the strategic opportunity areas, that students are also receiving training in entrepreneurship so that they're actually building those basic skills needed to operate a business. So if they choose to open their own electrician company or delve into, advanced manufacturing, whatnot, they have those basic business skills needed to become entrepreneurs.
Let me throw something else in on there, and I hope this doesn't mean we're going to go till midnight, but Crystal, and you may have done this. Again, I'm just kind of jumping ahead of the gun here, but in terms of entrepreneurship, I mean, our students in our high schools with the know-how, the technology, the wherewithal, the investment they make in programming and coding, and these kids are super smart. So they're already entrepreneurs and undiscovered entrepreneurs. So Crystal, I'm thinking maybe, I don't know if we have a talent search program for aspiring and upcoming entrepreneurs, but they're already there. We just need to find them.
These ancillary skills that you're talking about, is that like training in QuickBooks? Because that'd be the number one thing I'd recommend any new entrepreneur to jump into. That's a question.
I that would make a lot of sense. Yeah, we've just identified it as basic skills here to begin and operate. So certainly something like QuickBooks would be a component of that. Absolutely.
These smart kids are going to hire somebody to do that. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, they're going to put AI on it.
Yeah, that's where I go.
See, and that's how we create a geometric economy, right? And by having all these related.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think that, that first recommendation, which is number 7, around entrepreneurship, cuts across so many of these, and just seeing entrepreneurship not just as a wealth creation, but seeing entrepreneurship as a sort of a talent strategy, and having it be part of what you do in all training.
And I think we can get there a lot quicker. And again, I'm sorry to be to monopolize the conversation, but you guys are thinking, and I'm thinking, is that, for example, incorporating definitely, Crystal, AI, you almost, I would say you almost have to do that. As an example, So my son, who is a diesel technician, certified, and he's running his own business, was working on his mother-in-law's car. The air conditioner, there was a leak in the hose, but then he discovered that the fans weren't working. And so all of a sudden, it wasn't necessarily just a hose problem, it was an electrical problem. And I sat there with him for over an hour, and he went through each of the phases of checking where that problem could be. And he didn't uncover it immediately, or at least that when I left. I went home and plugged in AI, and I said, this is a 2013 Traverse with blah, 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 blah. And it came up exactly with what he had already gone through. Exactly. And
You know,
so-
that's actually, I'm sorry, this is going to take us
ahead.
way off base, but I'll only do it for 30 seconds and then I'm going to give it over to you, Tom, so we can get to wrapping up.
Yeah.
The ubiquity of AI cannot be underestimated. And one of the things we've been talking about, if we talk about entrepreneurship, as I've heard the conversation, you know, like throughout Venture Week, and I hear it right now, we're really talking in terms of about a decade ago.
Sorry, we're talking about what?
We're talking about it in terms that are about a decade old.
Yeah.
AI is literally going to have an upheaval that we're not even prepared to deal with yet. But I think that that's one of those key skills that if we can find, you know, the individuals who have those talents, be able to integrate them into, you know, our education and workforce preparation systems, whatever those systems are, that's, I think, how we're going to really provide that leg up for individuals to be able to compete in the next decade of the economy. Because I guarantee you in 10 years, you won't recognize compared to what it is today. I think everybody's probably seen the videos about the deep fakes that are going on where essentially voice and image can now be fake for anyone. What that's going to do for Josh's profession, I have no idea around what's now evidentiary and what isn't. That's going to be a real question. But I think it goes to the point that the power that it's going to bring and the ease with which you can tap into it, that's going to be a real issue. And I think city council is going to have to tackle that. We've got to tackle it for our local entrepreneurs, our local workforce. It's going to pervade every aspect of life. And with that, I'm going to stop. And Tom, go right back to your presentation, please.
I promise.
Will do. I do think we have one more to cover, and then open it up for questions, or if you'd like, you know, depth on anything else. But this last one, if you're okay, Alexis, I'll take
Go
this.
for it.
Yeah, you know, that question, and this came up with you guys. You're saying we want to be able to help our employers in the long-term recruitment, making sure that Pflugerville is seen as a destination for, you know, talent, and having that be part of, you know, your vision for workforce. It's not just creating a great place to live, work, and play. It's really, you know, being on the map for, you know, within the greater Austin area of, yeah, that's a place that, you know, has the amenities, has the entertainment, has the housing options, has that quality of place, that it's not that I just want to go work there, but I want to go there and work and live there. Or I want that affinity for that community. And I know when, Terry, I think when we met with you and you laid out all the different plans for the trails and the redevelopment that's occurring in some of the districts, but just seeing that as part of your talent strategy, everything that you're doing is really being driven by, hey, you know, we're creating quality of place for those that live here, but we're also seeing that as a way to market our community to help our existing residents as well as those that would be future residents there. And this, you know, many times belongs in a comp plan, not in your workforce plan. And so we put it in here though, because we felt like it, you know, you need to recognize that each decision that you make around the streets, the parks, the, you know, developments that are occurring, have a real impact on how this is viewed within the region by the talent that is, you know, looking for work and where they're going to live and do that work. So I don't know that I need to go into any more detail here because it is a relatively high level strategy, but we couldn't avoid it. We wanted to emphasize that. So I will, say we went through each one of the strategies last time, and we have made minor modifications, but pretty much they are still very much like you guys had seen them before. If there's anything else that you feel like you have questions about, we're happy to answer them. But I did want to pause there.
Actually, Tom, I think we've got all our questions answered for the moment. Very nicely done. Thank you.
Okay. And I will go back. I
I'm so
did.
sorry.
Tom,
Go
I
ahead.
did have a couple of questions from the standpoint
sir.
of clarifying some of the information. And again, part of what I'm looking at is trying to anticipate some of the type of questions you may get hit with when the city council has an opportunity to make it, another look at some of this information. I don't know if you've got what's the best way to refer to what I'm talking about, but I'm looking at the report. And if I go to page 21, for example, down at the bottom, and I'm just using this as a reference point, but at the bottom, and it talks about the living wage. And matter of fact, I think that graph at the bottom of page 21 is excellent. But when it talks about the living wage and it mentions that word, I mean, the living wage, that term, are we just talking about, this is the gross wage, or if you will, the payroll that position or that person would need to earn from that position? That's the gross. That's not including benefits of any kind. All I'm getting at is I see living wage and I look at that number and I think that's the gross wage. There's no benefits involved, so there's no healthcare build up. There's nothing. This is just what somebody has to have. And then they apply to their expenses to live. So is it the gross wage?
Yeah, that's a gross wage, not a net, and it's within it, it's assuming that there are taxes being paid. Well,
that's, in other words, this before, that number we're looking at is before payroll taxes.
Yeah. If you're okay, let me verify that.
No, Tom, that's an excellent answer, because
Okay.
I looked at it from a couple of different sources and I
Yeah.
couldn't get something straight. All I'm getting to is I think that's important for people to understand.
Mhm.
So is this what your employer is paying? This is not necessarily what you see in your pocket after you get your paycheck?
Yeah, let me verify that. Let me
And
verify.
so the reason this question that I
Because-
just asked
Yeah.
on what is that number is important is because when I went to page 13, reading through the information, when it has the example of the Lone Star Workforce of the Future Fund uses that example, that paragraph. That's at the bottom of page 13. And again, these examples that you included in this report, I think in the various pieces were excellent. I thought they helped me understand what the report was conveying. But when I go to that paragraph, the Lone Star Workforce of the Future Fund, the next to the last sentence in that paragraph, I don't know if you found where I am. So this is the second.
Yeah,
paragraph from
I'm
the
on
bottom.
it. This is the self-sufficiency wage.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
when I read that, and I read that for this, the success of this Lone Star Workforce of the Future Fund is that at least one half of the participants must secure a high demand job with a self-sufficiency wage. I'm thinking just in Austin, if I go by the wages that we were just talking about, the living wage, that's $50,000. So is
Yeah.
this telling me if the self-sufficiency wage is the living wage, that when people come out of this program, at least half of them have to be making $50,000? All I'm getting to is when I read that, that's when I began to think, maybe I don't understand this as well as I thought. So.
Yep. No, you're asking an excellent question, and I will verify for you instead of
Right, and the
misstating
only-
it here. The question that you were asking earlier, we will also send that data to you because it is in the data set, based on the demand jobs and then the wages that are paid within those demand jobs by sector. And within that data set. And I can, do I want to pull it up real quick? Or should I just send it to you?
You can just send it to us. Bottom
Okay.
line is that the two things that I just mentioned to you,
Yes.
I just think are the kind of questions that may have come up in a future discussion, and I want to have you
Perfect.
prepared for them.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. Well, we have really, it's been a pleasure working with you guys, and we look forward to the meeting next week with the council. If you guys have any additional questions or you catch something that's not right as you go through it or have a question, we are definitely available to Crystal and to you guys directly if you need anything. With that, if there are no more questions.
Okay, it looks like we've wrapped the questions part. We do have a consider action on this particular agenda item, which would be just to approve the plan in order to forward it on to city council so they can get it, chew on it, and then we can see if we can get something through city council, and then we can start taking some action. So I will actually go ahead and make the motion that we accept the plan as presented from TIP Strategies. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Darrell. Okay, all in favor of accepting, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, we pass acceptance 5-1. Yes. Okay. All right, we'll close item 5C. We'll now move on to item 5D. This is 2024-1011. Discuss and consider action to approve the PCDC to sponsor purchase tickets for the United Partners Jeans and Bling event. Yes, please do.
Thank you.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Debbie Wiederhold. I'm the Executive Director of United Partners in Pflugerville. I've brought some of my board members as well as some of our partners. One of our partners, you have to shout it because, Daniel. This is Daniel and Laurie. There are two of our partners. Also have other board members. This is Roxanne Belusic. She is our volunteer co-coordinator, as well as Linda Skellinger that stands in the back. She's a program coordinator. But thank you all for having us tonight. We'll be a little bit quicker. But for those of you that have not heard of United Partners, hopefully you all have, but if you haven't, we are a local downtown Pflugerville nonprofit, and we provide a program for adults with disabilities that have aged out of the public school system. What do you do when that yellow bus doesn't come around anymore? Well, instead of having individuals sit at home and do nothing, we created a program, and it's in my eyes been very successful. I'll give you just a brief history of what we have done. The idea was hatched in 2015, and we were over at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and we created a board and we thought about everything that we could think about. Well, not everything, because a lot has come up since we started, but that was in 2015, and Emmanuel was wonderful and gracious in letting us meet there. And then in 2017, we opened our doors. It was pretty exciting. It did take us a while, it takes a little while to create a business. And we started 2 times a week. Our first thing to do was to do the trunk or treat at church. We thought that was pretty cool. And then in 2018, we started feeling like we could do more. One of the things that we did was the Chili Fest, the local Chili Fest. And at that time, PCDC was putting together all of the tasting cups and spoons and the tickets. And we were asked to put those together. And we said, sure. We didn't realize how many there were, but we actually did that for 2 years. And that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Putting the tickets in the bags. You remember that, Laurie? We've also done the Fall Fest every year. We've been to Hendrickson High School, their Santa deal at Christmas time. We've done that arts and crafts show and the trunk or treat again. In 2019, we had our first gala up in Paradise. Everything's related to up. And that was at the local Lions Club. We opened our up store, the pink building at 301 West Pecan. And Glenn Herzog has graciously allowed us to use that. It's an incredible gift. In 2020, we all know what happened. COVID shut us down because we couldn't have everyone coming and meeting. And we also were still located at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and they have a day school. And in order to keep that day school operating, they had to spread out a lot. So we had to leave. And so in December of 2020, we were not meeting. We had no partners, no income coming in. And what did we do? We bought a building. And we bought it from the city of Pflugerville. And that's where we are now. And 2021, we worked on the up house because we needed to get it operational for us. And we moved in April. In October, we reopened our store, and then we were going 4 days a week. And 2022 is pretty exciting. We turned 5. 2023, we turned 6, obviously, and we were up to 16 partners. Our individuals are called partners because we're all partners in this together. And then we had our second gala, Fiesta It Up, and that was in March of that year at the Lions Club Hall as well. And starting that year, we've been a feature artist of the month at the Three-Legged Goat. Yes. And we have done that now 3 years in a row. We continue the local arts and crafts shows that we do the monthly Pecan Street Collective, which is wonderful. The Slice of Pflugerville, the Pride Festival, and then we purchased the Upside, our building that we have added onto our property. And they didn't like me calling it the outhouse, so we call it the Upside. And in 2024, we're 7. We are 7 years old. We continue with our Artist of the Month at Three-Legged Goat, the Pecan Street Collective, the Pride Festival. But we also this year have had 2 separate break-ins, which set us back quite a bit. We're still working on our building, the Upside. We still have a few hoops to jump through. Okay, we've got our 3rd annual gala coming up, which is what we are really here to present about. And it's called Boots and Bling It Up. We can have the little poster. No, Linda, you can do that part. Yeah. Da, 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 da. No, but it is. But Boots and Bling It Up is our 3rd gala, and we are trying something new. We ventured out ourselves, and we're having it at Typhoon, Texas, hoping that it will allow us a little bit more room. And we're going to have a really great MC at that event. But we're hoping that y'all would be interested in either sponsoring or purchasing tickets and coming and showing your support for us, because we are one of those starting out entrepreneurs who are now 7 years old. And we think this program is really needed in the Pflugerville area. There's nothing else like up. And we're doing it largely with volunteers. And we actually do have a waiting list. And we do have some that will leave for different reasons, and then we'll fill that right up. And so we have a waiting list. What about this? Anything? I'd like to see them come to the gala. Yes, we'd love to see you come to the gala. And we actually are calling it Boots and Bling It Up. So wear your boots, jeans, boots, wear your jeans with your boots. But what were you going to say? You're supposed to shout it. Y'all come.
So on the sponsorship levels, it seemed, I couldn't find the list I was looking for, but it seemed like you had to sponsor a table for $5,000. You can do, there was a $10,000 level. Can you talk about those levels?
There's certainly a $10,000 level. Let me tell you about it. No, I have a packet that I can leave with you as well. But we've named our different levels. They're the different levels of names of boots. So at the Lucchese level, that is the $10,000 level. You'll get your logo placement at the Boots and Bling event. You'll be recognized at Boots and Bling It Up. And if you would like to speak, we will let you do that as well. Your social media recognition, we'll continue that even after the event because if I didn't mention, it's October 26th. It's coming up really quickly. And you'll get 2 tables at the event and 16 tickets will be given to you. Our Tony Lama event.
On that,
Yes.
on that note, I don't know what our expressed interest is, but clearly United Partners has been a partner of our community for a long time. And I know the city's supported them in various endeavors and it's a fantastic organization. If you haven't spent time over there, I recommend it to everyone to go volunteer and help with something. I tried to get the laser working, but then I got busy and I think,
Well,
yeah, I think Linda got it figured out. If there's enough of the members, board members that are interested in going, I think we've heard the sponsorship level that might best fit our needs. What level?
I'll motion to.
The 10,000. What, I forgot the name of the boots. I'm
That's
not a boot guy.
It's Lucchese.
Lucchese boots.
Lucchese. Mhm. And then the 7,500 is Tony Lama. Yes, you would get 2 tables and 16 tickets as well. Takovas is a $5,000 level. That's 1 table and 8 tickets. Fry is 2,500 and you get 8 tickets. Ariat is 1,000. And then we always have the bless your heart level that you can give any amount you'd like to.
Let me interject something here and again for the board and I think most of the board members here have been part of galas and fundraising over the years. I know I have. And, you know, it's always for a wonderful cause such as United Partners. But I think, for example, Jim, a 16 ticket sponsor level would also give us the opportunity to offer those tickets to our businesses around here that could come and then donate some additional money to the organization as well. And so that kind of generates additional, not that we force them to come, but we gently nudge them.
And I think there's a silent auction.
Yeah, oh, there's a live auction and a silent auction.
Good point, Mayor.
The items are incredible. And just to point out one of them in the live auction, we do have 2 of Britta Herzog's paintings, if you're not familiar with Britta, but you know, and also the print that is the downtown area that is a print, and it's an original. And then we also, there's something about a football game, and it's if I remember right, Rico. It's a Rico level, 4 UT football tickets, 4, count them 4, parking passes, and it's the Rico club level that gets you into the club as well. And yes, it's the Kentucky game. But I think right now every game looks pretty good. So, oh yeah, yeah. I know we've tried to get some tickets for the Aggie game, but you know, we haven't had anybody come up and say anything, you know. But hey, Laurie, do you like going to Up?
Yeah,
What do you like to do there?
I like doing crafts.
You like doing crafts? Yeah, you're pretty good at it too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I like to cook.
And just saying that, cooking, as Roxanne is our wonderful help in that area, and the partners have made cowboy cookies as part of the dessert. So have your tips ready for that too. Anything else? When is Roxanne's turn? You're supposed to.
Well, have a. Thank you very much. You know, I know that these types of functions and galas and fundraiser are always important to the community, and to the participants and stakeholders in the organization. And we've been down this road many times. And I know that we sit here as board members wondering, you know, is this a plausible investment? And I would say it definitely is. I would vote to or move to purchase the Tony Lama level. I think is at 7,500 with 16 tickets.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I would move to have the PCDC board sponsor that level.
Second. Okay, so there's a motion and a second before the board. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we pass unanimously. So at the Tony Lama level, that's the correct title, right?
I really look forward to meeting this person who's doing the MC.
The MC.
Yes.
I've heard it's really good. Yeah.
I've heard it.
Is there any way we can take that back now that we've clarified a few things?
I already checked. I didn't have to recuse myself. We already talked about it. Consulted legal.
And we'll need that table close to the MC so we can heckle, you know what? Oh, okay.
And again, board, I would suggest that I'm sure that there are board members that wish to attend, but I would highly recommend, and again, Terry, that we offer those tickets to some of our business partners over in this neighborhood, or whoever you think. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, never mind. I'll ask that question. I'm done.
Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and close item 5D. We'll now proceed to item 5E, 2024-1017. Discuss and consider action to authorize the PCDC president to enter into a restrictive covenant agreement regarding Place Marks 42 acres parcel adjacent to the PCDC 17.7 acre parcel located in Caldwell, West Survey number 66, number 162, Travis County, State Highway 130, Pflugerville, Texas 78660. Hey, Emily, how you doing?
Good evening. Good evening, board. Tonight before you is a unique item. It's related to a property known as the Placemaker Project. They've been working with the city to go through the entitlement process. This project is located, you can see faintly there, just south of the 17-acre tract of land that PCDC bought within the last year. It's a 43-acre tract of land which proposes, three individual buildings for industrial, office, and warehouse uses, totaling around 500,000 square feet on this property. As you may or may not be aware, in 2019, the legislative session precludes cities from enforcing building material standards. Through that, the cities and developers as well look for ways to ensure certain building materials are used on future construction of properties. And so with that effort, for this particular project, whether the current owner or future owners of this project, this restrictive covenant would allow for PCDC to enforce those building materials on this property because you're an adjacent property owner. The developer has worked with city staff, the city attorney, a PCDC attorney, and Terry on this particular item, and it's really to ensure that building materials, quality building materials that the city expects on their buildings are constructed for this project. I think, I don't have the Turner, but I think there's one other slide kind of show you the layout. You see right here, it's right off of 130, just south of the 130 Commerce Park, just south of where we are today. You see the PCDC property there, the road that goes through there is the extension of Impact Way. So really ultimately will serve long-term as an extension of the 130 Commerce Park with similar types of uses that we see here today. I'm happy to answer any questions. The developer and their representative are also here. Again, it's requesting your approval of a restrictive covenant to enforce building materials for this particular piece of property.
Emily, this covenant, it's two-way, right? And so whatever standards we're holding placemaker to would be the same standards that PCDC or anyone that occupies a PCDC property would be held to?
It's only for this piece of property.
Interesting.
It's a one-way restrictive covenant.
And y'all are good with that?
This was their suggestion. Yes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion approves unanimously. That takes us now to item 5F, 2024-0997. Executive session item number 1, deliberations in accordance with sections 551.071 and 551.087 of the Texas Government Code to discuss economic development negotiations and financial information received from businesses expanding or relocating in the city of Pflugerville, and to seek legal advice regarding such projects, incentives, negotiations, and performance agreement compliance, including projects Top Floor, Gene, Extra Care, RNDC, MDC Vacuum, Essentium, Cumberland Additive, and REE. Executive session item 2, 551.071. This is consultation with the attorney regarding pending litigation. 15508 Impact Way LLC versus PCDC, case number 123-CV00914, U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas. Executive session item 3, deliberations in accordance with sections 551.072 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the sale, purchase, or lease of real property, subject reference Project Greenfield. Executive session item number 4, discussion of the personnel matters pursuant to chapter 551.074 of the Texas Government Code regarding search and selection of an executive director for the Pflugerville Community Development Corporation. And then following potential open session item number 5, discuss and consider action on executive session items as needed. We are in executive session as of 7:34. Okay, we are out of executive session at 9:35. No, I'm sorry, correct that, 9:32. No action was taken. Both our items are covered here in G&H, right? Okay. We'll now go to item 5G, 2024-0995, discuss and consider action to authorize the PCDC president to sign a First Amendment to the Economic Development Performance Agreement with MDC Vacuum, also known as Precision, extending deadlines for performance and incentive payment obligations by 1 year. I have a motion to approve. I second the motion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. We'll now go to 5H. This is 2024-0996. Discuss and consider action approving a Pflugerville Community Development Corporation sales contract for $24.5 million regarding Project Greenfield for the purchase of real property, being a 52.686 acre tract of land located in the East Kirkland Survey, number 7, abstract number 458, Travis County, Texas, locally addressed as 3615 East Pflugerville Parkway, pending due diligence during the feasibility period.
President, I move that we approve item 5H as so read.
I'll second the motion. Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? And the motion passes unanimously. And as of 9:34, we are adjourned.